Question 14 is asking for the solution to what we have here is what we call as a quadratic. And we call it a quadratic it's because we have an x squared. When we talk about quadratics, you're talking about a shape that makes that U-shaped graph. So this is very algebraic. And in all honesty, this is moving on to second year algebra. This is a very hard question. If you were to go to your formula sheet, which we've talked about before, they're looking on this question for something that's called quadratic formula. And I'm going to put this to the side here, and we're going to talk about how to solve this mathematically. But in all honesty, when we get a very difficult question, we need to use our test taking strategies and understand, can we eliminate some and can we just take a good guess? So the first thing I'm going to talk about is just as a test taking strategy, what should I be looking for here? Look for patterns. I have a 1, and a 1. Okay. 3 times that came up. The positive 2, negative 2, that could be something to pay attention to. I see a lot of this in math. If you get a negative under the square root, which we'll talk about in a little bit, so say I had like a negative 4, this is going to refer to what's called an imaginary number. The real conversation to that is they're talking about, does this quadratic actually cross the x-axis? It's called zeros. And when you have an I, it just doesn't. But the test taking strategy I want you to realize is, well, there's 4 of those. It's a good chance that's going to be one of those answers. On top of that, that kind of gets rid of maybe this one at the bottom, which was a 1. So now is it a 1 or is it a 2 kind of an idea? And then if you notice the bottoms, is it a 1 with a 5 or a 10? Or is it a 2 with a 5 or a 10? So, and my guess, I'm going to be going with the 1 idea because there's 3 of them. And if I had to guess, at least I'm between 2 choices. And that's going to be hopefully one that you might get right, but maybe not. Here's the math. We have the quadratic formula. It's important to know that this is the A, the B, and the C, and that really it's set equal to 0. I know it's on the second line, but it's set equal to 0. So if I was to do the math and I was to say the opposite of B, because we have negative B, that means I would have a positive 2. It goes plus or minus big old square root. And again, we don't have to worry so much about the inside, but we're going to do it. So B squared. So negative 2 times negative 2 happens to be the number 4, minus 4 times A, which is 5, times C, which is 5. And then I usually do this part first mathematically. And I notice that 5 times 5 is 25. And 25 times 4, that's 4 quarters, is 100. And I know that 4 minus 100, I'm done right there. I know that it's a negative number in the square root. That validates that my answer had to be an I. I'm not going to go anything past that because they all say 2i6, 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 2i6. You don't have to worry about that part of the math. What we're really going to concentrate on is this front part. That negative b, and in our case, that's over 2a, and 2 times 5 is the number 10. So if I was to concentrate on the 2, we know the radical's there, and the 10 that I had at the bottom, I'm going to be able to find this answer. Remember, it was the opposite of b, so if it said negative 2, that's why I put a positive 2, and I got the 10 because it says 2a, and 2 times a, which was 5, made the 10. Right here, I want you to notice 2 and 10 can really reduce. They can both divide by 2, and that would become the number 1 over 5. So if I'm looking at those answers, 1 over 5, I don't like that 1 over 10, so that one was gone. The 2 over 10, they didn't reduce that. On a test like this, they would reduce that. So that answer was gone. Again, 2 over 5, no, they didn't change it. It should have been 1 over 5. We do see the 1 over 5 at the bottom, but we know it wasn't that answer at the very beginning because it doesn't have the imaginary, which we verified because 4 minus 100 was a negative 96 if you really want to do it. But we know that's not the answer also. So the real answer to this question has to be which one? You guessed it, it's A. This is a hard question. Don't stress about all of the hard questions, but hopefully your logic can get you a few good guesses and a few good answers to assist you on passing this test. Stay positive, keep working hard.